So when she was actually putting it in, I didn't feel anything. But then later that day, my arm was definitely sore, and the next day it was very sore.
I do know a couple nurses, nursing assistants, and even some doctors who are a little hesitant to get it.
And actually, I mean, I've heard of like someone in our hospital also had that happen.
안녕하세요, 차종훈입니다. 이번 메디컬 비디오 포스팅 시간에는 제가 직접 진행한 인터뷰 영상을 가지고 와봤습니다. 제 미국 간호사 친구들이 코로나 백신을 맞았는데요. 백신을 맞고 나서 어땠는지 그들의 아주 솔직한 경험담을 들려드리려고 합니다. 한 친구는 전 세계적으로 평가한 종합병원 랭킹 탑 3 안에 드는 클리브랜드 클리닉에서 같이 근무했던 친구고요. 다른 간호사는 케이스 웨스턴 리저브 유니버시티에서 너싱을 같이 전공한 학교 선배입니다. 부작용은 없었는지, 그리고 백신의 효과는 언제 나타나는지, 확진자였어도 백신을 맞아야 하는지 등 인터뷰를 통해 함께 확인해 보시죠.
So, are you ready for the interview? We have tons of questions to ask you. Shall we start?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay, well, my name's Devin. I'm here in New Jersey, state in the United States, and I've been a nurse for about 5 years now. So currently working in an intensive care unit in New Jersey. But I worked with Jenny in the Cleveland Clinic and worked a few different places as a nurse. So.
Hello, my name is Shin. I have been a nurse for about, I think, 5.5 years. I am a pediatric nurse. I work in a hospital in New York City currently.
Do you think how many you've treated so far?
So I've been in the ICU since the summer. I started training, I don't know, probably at least 100, probably more there.
I work on a COVID designated unit. I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 patients when it was at the peak. I think on a daily, I see a lot of COVID patients.
So which vaccine did you get, Pfizer or Moderna? And is there any reason why you get the vaccine?
I got the Pfizer vaccine. Pfizer vaccine was the first FDA approved vaccine in the US. So that was the first one that was available to my hospital. In the first 1% of the world is what they said. I was the first week that they gave it, I was in that group. So it's
I got the Moderna vaccine because I didn't have a big preference to which one I wanted, because I knew that both of them were very, very effective, up to 95%. So it was just important for me to get the vaccine rather than choose which label I wanted.
But were you able to choose which vaccine you wanted to get?
Because when I went, it was just the one vaccine. And then it was a week later that they had both.
Right.
My thought is I don't think that people would have a choice, because one is 94% effective, the other one's 95% effective.
I think I would have been able to choose which one. So say if I went in and wanted the vaccine that day, but they only had the Moderna, I could say I'll wait until the Pfizer comes as a shipment and it's available, then I will get it at that time.
Does vaccination become mandatory for all the medical staff?
It was voluntary. Our hospital definitely encouraged it, especially, in the ICU when we're seeing a lot of patients with it, but it wasn't mandated. You don't have to get it. But I definitely volunteered to get it.
Before getting the shot, did you have any concerns with the efficacy rates of the vaccines not quite being 100%?
Not when I was getting it. I definitely, beforehand, I think me and a lot of other people, you're wondering how they did it so quickly and kind of wondering about how safe it really is. But I was pretty impressed with the 94, 95%. I think, some of our flu vaccines are only 60, 70%. So at first I was really impressed by that.
And I think I was more nervous to get coronavirus, to maybe give it to my friends and family. And I was more excited about the vaccine than I was nervous for it.
But the survey data shows that around 40% of the US population don't want the vaccine. Can your colleagues refuse it if they don't want it?
They can refuse it. It's definitely encouraged. There's a lot of people, 60% of our country is willing, but you need at least 70 to 75% to get that herd immunity to really get that full coverage. So I think we have a little ways to go with just kind of, encouraging people that it's safe. Hopefully we'll get there.
Yes, I do know a couple nurses, nursing assistants, and even some doctors who are a little hesitant to get it. Some of them say they want to wait a little bit or whatever their reason is. I think it is a personal preference, and you get to make your own choice. But the more that people like us show confidence in the science and the vaccine, and the more that we are educated about the vaccine, I think more and more people will be willing to get vaccinated.
Should the recovered patients with COVID-19 still be vaccinated?
I actually did get COVID-19 this fall. I did have some symptoms. It started with like a headache, I had a stuffy nose, and then it progressed into like body aches, really bad fatigue. And then I had a couple days where I had like a pretty strong cough and a little bit of shortness of breath. But they do say they recommend to still get vaccinated because they're still not sure about like natural immunity when you've had the infection. They're not sure how long it lasts. They have so many uncertainties about it. For me, like I have so much contact with patients with it. So they said to just get it right away.
Yes, I think so. Because it's important that you still get vaccinated so that you're for sure protected against a second infection and from getting sick again. Even some of my colleagues who had already been infected by COVID earlier in the month, they received the vaccine as well.
How do you feel after you got the shot? Have you experienced any side effects?
So when she was actually putting it in, I didn't feel anything. But then later that day, my arm was definitely sore, and the next day it was very sore. I have to say, I took just some Tylenol. The arm was sore, and then I just felt a little bit fatigued, a little bit tired that day. Mm-hmm. But it was really just the day after, and then after that, it's been totally fine. I haven't felt anything. I have a poor pain tolerance. I'm kind of a wimp, so I would say maybe like a 5 out of 10 the day after, and then like 0, 10 after that.
I definitely was sore in my arm. I felt like I had a little bit of body ache, but after like 24 hours, I felt great, and I didn't have any other side effects.
What were the reactions of you and those around you who were vaccinated of the Memorial Hospital nurse who fainted as she was taking the shot? Do you think that fainting can be a possible side effect?
You see that, and it probably scares people, but if you hear her talking after, she said that she's had multiple episodes of that. And actually, I mean, I've heard of like someone in our hospital also had that happen, but then she had passed out from the flu shot earlier that year. So I think it's mostly people that have had that reaction before.
I think as of now, fainting is not one of the known side effects, right? There were a lot of things that could have been factors into why she fainted. So maybe a combination of, being nervous about the vaccine, having cameras around, having to speak in front of a large crowd, all could have contributed.
Are there any reported cases of anaphylaxis?
No, I heard of like 2 nurses in the United Kingdom that had an anaphylactic reaction. But it turns out they were carrying an EpiPen with them. From what I understand, the people that have had those reactions are ones that have big, major allergies. They've had that before. So that's kind of something that they're looking at. People that have had these big reactions should probably hold off a little bit on getting it.
I think there are definitely some cases, but very, very few and very rare. I think to any kind of medication, there's going to be side effects, and some people who have anaphylactic reactions to them. I think that's why they require or recommend that you have like a 15-minute observation period from when you receive the vaccine, just to monitor us and observe for any signs of anaphylactic reaction.
So you know the vaccine requires 2 doses. When will you get the second one again?
I have to get it literally 3 weeks after my first injection. So I have it booked, I think January 13th, I'll get the second one.
Oh, I got the Moderna, so I will get it 28 days after my first dose. So mine is scheduled for January 20th.
Do you know how much time it takes for the vaccine to take its effect?
I think they say after the first vaccine, I've heard it's like 50 or 60% effective, but it's really after that second dose that's where you get that 94, 95% effectiveness. So probably like within that week after the second dose, that's when it's really at its best.
A few days ago, the UK government announced a new coronavirus strain. Do you think the vaccine can still be effective against new coronavirus mutation?
I was scared to hear that. I'm hoping that it will, because we know like things like the flu, there's multiple strains of that, and we just try to cover the best we can with the vaccines. But a lot of the doctors I work with are hoping that we'll still get coverage with this vaccine.
I think yes. I think it's hard to say what is to come and what the vaccine or what the virus will do as it runs its course. But Pfizer and Moderna both confidently say that they are effective against the new strain. So it's important for us to stay updated on all the new science and all the new information and stay educated on those things.
Should you continue with the preventive measures like wearing masks after getting vaccinated?
They definitely recommend still, keeping our 6 feet apart, wearing the masks. It's just the cases are crazy. They say even if you're vaccinated, a majority of the country isn't. So we have to keep doing those, precautions, and then hopefully just see the cases slowly lower down.
I think there was a nurse that got tested positive for coronavirus after receiving the vaccine. So I think it's important for us to still wear our masks and wear our PPE and treat our patients. Especially when we're treating our patients, we need to wear all of our PPE. But even when we're outside and in the real world, outside of the hospital, it's important for us to wear a mask and social distance and do all of those things.
How long do you think it will take for society to be back to how it used to be now that people are starting to be vaccinated?
It's not going to be like a light switch, but it's just going to slowly lower. And then hopefully maybe later this spring and the summer, things will look better and we can kind of ease up. But they say right now, just keep doing everything.
Hopefully by the end of 2021, things will start dying down and we'll be able to enjoy our lives as it was before COVID hit us. But I guess we'll just take it day by day for now and just remain hopeful and wait.
Lastly, please give a word of support to the people in Korea who are waiting for the vaccine.
Gosh, well, first of all, I hope you guys get it as soon as possible. I think finally getting the vaccine for me has just given so much hope. I think there's finally, a light at the end of the tunnel. I think there's a hope for a better year, next year. And
I think 2020 was definitely a very hard year for everyone. And I want to say personally that I'm really, really proud and very thankful for all of the frontline workers in Korea because you guys did a really amazing job. I think I said yes to this interview because I wanted to show confidence in the science and encourage people that the vaccine is something that's going to give us hope for a future that is more like the lives that we've been used to. And I think all of us have lost so many things already from this virus. And we should all take part in trying to fight it and return to our normal lives. Thank you.
화이자와 모더나 백신을 맞은 미국 간호사들의 솔직담백한 후기를 들어보았는데요. 환자를 위한 마음 그리고 가족을 위한 마음으로 용기를 내서 백신을 맞고 그 경험을 공유한 제 친구들이 참 고맙고 존경스럽습니다. 우리나라도 효과와 안정성이 입증된 백신 접종이 하루빨리 시작되길 바라면서 차피디의 MVP는 여기까지 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.